Welcome to my version of First Things First, Nick Wright's Quarterback Mountain. The most unbiased, the most grounded, the most realistic quarterback mountain in the entire NFL, consistently voted as one of, if not the best mountain in the entire world. It's pretty cool. It's an honor. It is a privilege. And I say to you humbly, thank you so much for those votes of confidence. Now, my mountain is definitely different than how Nick Wright does it on First Things First. It is not a rich tapestry. It has nothing to do with what happened in years past. I don't care about your MVPs. I don't care about your Super Bowls. I don't care. It has nothing to do with anything. I don't care what you did in week 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10. It only has to do with what did you do this past week. That's it. Why is it that way? Because then the mountains can move. The people can keep going up and down. 1 minute you could be at the top. The next minute you could be at the bottom. That's what makes it fun. You never know where a player is going to be. They move drastically depending on their play. Now, it's also not just because you put up great stats. Just because you threw over 300 yards and had 3 touchdowns doesn't mean that you're automatically at the top. Right? What I consider is, what was at stake? How hard was the game? Who were you going up against? How good was your opponent? What did it matter? Were you on the road? Were you at home? What was the story? What was the situation? Did you get a big lead and it was just easy to lean on that? Were there any injuries? Etc., etc., etc. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. It's going to be a good one. People are going to get angry for this one. And it's pretty funny because they shouldn't, but I know they will. They're going to get angry for 3 reasons. I can guarantee 3 reasons people are going to get very angry. And I'm here for it. I don't do it on purpose. I'm not chasing anger. I can tell you that right now. But, I'm not going to be afraid. At the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, in the woods, we got JJ McCarthy. He did not look good. Teddy Bridgewater almost outgained him. And he didn't even play the full game. He had 62 yards, and JJ McCarthy had him by 20 or so. What was that? 25 yards. With 87. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a passer rating of 34.2. Not so good. JJ McCarthy, I am sorry, buddy, but you are at the way bottom. It's a bummer, but that is where you are, my friend. Now, we got a nice little busy bottom level here. Listen, some of these quarterbacks sound like they did anything inherently wrong. Like I always say, when you're at the bottom like this, unfortunately, the way how this mountain works, sometimes you have a bunch of these quarterbacks at the bottom. And since I get rid of a lot of the quarterbacks that, that it just doesn't really matter right now, like, Tyrod Taylor and Tyler Shuck and, things of that nature, I'm just kind of like, whatever. It's just kind of like who's actually kind of relevant. Bryce Young wasn't even on this mountain for a while, and now they're like, hey, you might win the division. So Jared Goff's down there. Again, it's not like Jared Goff was terrible or was bad, and it was like, oh, that was bottom of the game performance. But I did expect higher quality game. That game was clearly all about Gibbs. Baker Mayfield's at the bottom. The 1 interception really wasn't his fault. That was a fluke and really on his receiver more than anything. And I know he's banged up and all that. Didn't even get to finish the game. But just is what it is. Mason Rudolph, buddy, listen, I don't even think that his team necessarily put him in the best possible position to succeed in that game. Quite frankly, I hated that first interception that he had to start the game. I hated the play call. I just don't know why you're doing that. Again, it's not like he was inherently this terrible quarterback. Yeah, he had the strip sack, but he was getting beat up pretty good. Just one of those things that's going to happen. But he had protection for the most part, but couldn't get it done. Trevor Lawrence, I just don't know what to do with this man. Throws for 256 yards, 60% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a passer rating of 81.4. I don't know, man. He's a generational talent with a great head coach, and enough pieces around him. I just, I don't know. I just don't know what to say about Trevor Lawrence. Bryce Young, that guy either throws for 500 yards or no 100 yards. The Panthers, if they could do anything offensively, they could have. Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions. He was just throwing picks left and right. He was like, you get a pick, and you get a pick, and you get a pick. And it was just like, they couldn't do anything. And then when they had a chance to score, to be like, okay, we're going to make this game interesting, Bryce Young throws an interception. And it was like, he could have ran it in for a touchdown. You had a walk-in touchdown. And instead, you were like, let me throw an interception instead. I can't let Brock Purdy get all the interceptions in this game. That's not fair. And so you're just like, what the heck was that? I don't think Brock Purdy played terrible. He had those 3 interceptions. The one was really a great defensive play that I think Troy Aikman outlined pretty well. And then the other 2, I don't think they were the best decisions. And even if you want to say, oh, it's okay to be aggressive in that situation, that's fine. I'd have to relook at the play and see kind of what else was there. I'm a little bit more conservative by nature in that regard. They were, but so you could dispute the decision but you can't dispute just they weren't the best of throws either. And so again, that does fall on Brock Purdy. So buddy, you are at the bottom of the mountain. And now it's going to start to get a little bit more juicy. Lamar Jackson. He just doesn't quite look right here. It's just, I don't, maybe it's the injury. It's probably the injury, but he just feels uncomfortable. It just doesn't seem right. And it's kind of depressing. It's kind of the way how we've seen Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes play in various moments throughout this season. You kind of get a little bit of a preview for what it looks like when these guys slow down. And I don't like it. It's like, I just don't like it. I'm not prepared to think about that yet right now. And we don't have enough great quarterbacks to overcome, which is what I'm going to talk about later in this mountain. But Lamar Jackson just hasn't looked, complete to me right now. And again, we can say injuries, we can say O-line, we can say all that. That's all par for the course. This isn't, excuse mountain here. It just is what it is, right? It just is what it is. I had Josh Allen at the top of the mountain I think he was at the top now when he had 6 touchdowns, and it's like now he's on the level with Jacoby Brissett and Daniel Jones. It just is what it is. And Josh Allen, again, it's a little bit harder because he played on Thursday. He was pressured 10 million times that game. I do give him the benefit of the doubt. Just like I'll give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt with him just kind of being banged up. But yeah, just is what it is. Jacoby Brissett, honestly, it's not even like he's really doing anything inherently wrong. I mean, he threw for 317 yards, 67.3% completion percentage, and a touchdown. He's kind of just working with what he's got right now. He had 6 sacks and he was pressured 27 times. It's actually pretty impressive. And, I don't want to, I could have easily moved him up, honestly. And it would have been easier if they won. I would have felt more confident doing that. But I mean, they're asking him to drop back 58 times and throw the ball 49 times. That is not easy, man. That is the real deal. And he's completing 67% of his passes. It's actually really, really, really impressive. And so I could have had him higher, but I opted just to kind of leave him a little bit lower. Quite frankly, he doesn't deserve to be on this row compared with the other quarterbacks right now. I just don't see it that way. I mean, Daniel Jones, that game was a complete product, 100% of Shane Steichen. Any of the successful throws, any of the successful moments, it was like Shane Steichen. He was the puppet master. Absolutely. And when there was times where it's like, okay, need Daniel Jones to kind of elevate, take over, couldn't do it. And all he did was need one good drive where he's just like, okay, I got this. And they win the game. And he did not have this, and they lost the game. Jordan Love, very basic game. Again, Jordan Love didn't really have to do much of anything. I really appreciated the game plan from the Green Bay Packers because they were just like, J.J. McCarthy has 87 yards right now. So we don't have to do much. We're not trying to do anything. Jordan Love's a little banged up himself, so it was just basic. It was just simple. No harm, no foul. So keep on keeping on, Jordan. Jordan Love. Now, this is where people are going to start to get a little antsy. They're going to get a little antsy. We got Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford! He threw 3 touchdowns and 273 yards at a 71.4% completion percentage. Yeah, he played great. It was a very simple, easy, straightforward game against him, against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that is circling the drain. And going up at that point now, Baker Mayfield's banged up, gets knocked out of the game. 2 interceptions. And now you got Teddy Bridgewater. It's just very easy, straightforward game. Made some really, really nice throws. Matthew Stafford is elite, and I have defended him every step of the way. So nothing against Matthew Stafford, but I seem to have a lot of sensitive Matthew Stafford fans right now who have it twisted where they think that I don't like Stafford. And it's like, I guess I'm just going to keep repeating this because not everyone seems to hear it. I literally say that Matthew Stafford would be in the GOAT conversation if he was teamed up with Sean McVay for his entire career. I'm the one that has consistently said that and said that Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are an elite quarterback duo. I absolutely positively love watching Matthew Stafford play. And anytime I reference what a true elite passer looks like, I often use 99% of the time, I use Matthew Stafford as that example. So anyone who thinks that I don't like Matthew Stafford, you are significantly, you are greatly confused. You are greatly confused. Drake May, going up against not such a great team, the Cincinnati Bengals, had the pick 6. But again, I'm still grading him slightly on that rookie scale. Like I've graduated him from that, but it's still, still a young quarterback. And so it just, and he's built up so much goodwill right now because of the success that he's been having. And I still think that was a really high quality game from him, even though it was imperfect. It kind of got weird. There's going to be the sense of like, we can't lose to the Bengals. Like, what's going on here? And just like, just thought it was a decent game considering the circumstances. And Caleb Williams, some people said that this was Caleb Williams' like best game he played all year long. I don't think so. I think his best game was weirdly enough, with even worse statistics, I assume, against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't like, again, I don't live and die by the statistics. I especially for this mountain, I'm just not going to be like, this guy threw for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 74% completion percentage. Therefore, automatically, this was a great game. It's like, it depends what the game looks like. It depends how the game unfolded. And, I think Caleb played really well. He obviously took a terrible strip sack that, could have had pretty devastating consequences, but Mason Rudolph made sure to say, no, bro, I got you. Don't worry, buddy. I got you. I got your back. I got your back. And then Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold played great, but again, it was against the Tennessee Titans. I don't automatically disqualify you, but, when a game is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, it does just becomes a little bit harder for you to be successful at the top, unless it's really something that's just like over the top outrageous. But he had a 61.5 completion percentage, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba obviously just crushing it together, and a 118.1 passer rating. But again, pretty simple, pretty straightforward game. Now this is where people are going to start to get really excited. Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Hurts. Mahomes, yes, he had no touchdowns and 1 interception, but he threw for 352 yards, 63% completion percentage. I mean, and a 77.4 passer rating. This game was a huge game going up against the Colts. They could not get anything really going in that first half. I think there was 3 field goals. But I mean, listen, that was the Colts. The Colts lost that game to me more than the Kansas City Chiefs fundamentally won that game. But I still think that Patrick Mahomes played really well, made the plays when he needed to, made the throws, the fourth quarter, overtime, like he was making the plays, he was making it happen, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And then I'm just going to do a duo right now with Dak and Jalen Hurts. I mean, I talked about this, I think in my Dallas Cowboys video that I made yesterday. sometimes we take for granted when we automatically assume we're just going to see a great game with great quarterbacks going toe to toe, and we don't always get that. And we this is why I said earlier about, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, of them getting older. It's just like they 99 out of 100 times put on a great show when they're playing each other, right? Like, you just know, like, this game's going to be awesome, or this game has the potential to, like, really, give us our money's worth. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, Bengals Ravens is always exciting. Like, and you automatically assume you're going to be able to get that with these other teams, these other quarterbacks, and you don't always get that. You don't always get that. I mean, we didn't get that with Stafford and Sam Darnold. Like, that was supposed to be like a really great game. Two great quarterbacks who were playing at the top of their game, and you just didn't see that. We didn't see that with necessarily Josh Allen versus the Chiefs. Like, it was Josh Allen played great, but like Patrick Mahomes certainly did not. And again, you can credit the defense, but it just wasn't one of his better games. What was his worst completion percentage of his career, right? Like, that's not good. And then, like, even the young guys up and coming, Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels, like, all right, like, this is the new era of great quarterbacks. Like, let's go. And I was like, they didn't necessarily play great. Like, they weren't the story of that game. And watching Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, they both played awesome. They both played great. Jalen Hurts was pretty much that entire offense, over 300 yards, over 300 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them rushing. The one certainly was not a tush push. Was the leading rusher for the Eagles. The Eagles had 4 rushing touchdowns 4 rushing first downs that entire game, and Jalen had 3 of them. And so he really had to do a ton. 69.2% completion percentage. What was his passer rating? 99.2. Just a really good, clean game from him. And then Dak Prescott making some big throws, especially to George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb. But, he played great. He had like 360 some total yards, 254 passing, had the interception, definitely a tough interception, should have suffered the consequences for it, did not. The Eagles made sure of that, but I just think that game was exciting. Coming back down by 21. I just thought that was a great game. Both quarterbacks making a lot of big time plays, and it was just a pleasure to watch, honestly. Both making sure that they got the job done and put their team in a position to succeed. And now we got Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston. I actually have no idea why I skipped the other row where I should have had 2 quarterbacks. Honestly, what I would have done is I would have put Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott at 1 and 2, and then I would have moved up. I would have moved Caleb. I don't know. I would have had to move a bunch of things around now, so I don't know. We'll have to just leave it at that. It would have had a trickle down effect, because then I could have then moved Jacoby Brissett up. It all would have changed. I messed up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a terrible person. But Jameis Winston, this man, listen, I'm not the biggest Jameis Winston fan. He doesn't seem serious to me. He's the type of player that, like, I don't mind being friends with him, having him part of, like, my, I don't know, part of the, boys hanging out and stuff like that. But, like, I don't know, man. He's not my favorite type of player to play with. I like guys who can be lighthearted. I like guys who can have fun and all of that. Can't be business 24/7. I'm serious enough, so I appreciate some of the lightheartedness. But, like, I just, especially when you're the quarterback, like, I don't know. It could just be a tough one. But the dude's catching touchdowns. He's throwing touchdowns. He got trick plays, flea flickers all over the place. I mean, he had 50% completion percentage, but he threw for 367 yards, 10.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, had the interception, a 93.2 passer rating. I mean, I think it was a pretty wild game for him. I think anytime a backup quarterback that doesn't have a full-time starting role gets thrown into the mix like that, and puts his team in a position to win, quite frankly, should have won. Has no wide receiver. He doesn't even have like a wide receiver 1 or 2. Number 1 running back. Like, it's just, this team is such a mess. A brand new coach, and I don't know, just it was impressive to me to see what he was able to do. So I appreciate that, honestly. But yeah, that's the mountain. But there is one more. There is one more that I did not put on the mountain, because the reality is he is bigger than the mountain. He is bigger than the mountain. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but this was single-handedly the greatest quarterback prospect to ever come out of the draft in the history of the NFL. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's predicted to be Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes combined, along with Josh Allen's physicality, Lamar Jackson's speed, Stafford's processing and no-look passes, Tom Brady's ruthlessness, Patrick Mahomes' clutchness. It's just crazy. He's the mountain combined. Jalen Hurts, ice in his veins. And this first game that he had, buckle up, 11 for 20, 55% completion percentage, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 87.3, which will go down in the books as the greatest first game ever in the history of the NFL. Who is it? We got to do the blind reveal. Dusty, reveal it. Shedeur Sanders. Look at that. He's already got his rings. He already has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He already has 5 Super Bowl rings. And the Lombardi Trophy. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's got it all. He's bigger than the mountain. He is the mountain. He is the mountain. He's taken over. He is taken over. I'm impressed. I am impressed. So, that's my mountain. It's the Shedeur Mountain. So, we can't even see anyone else anymore because it's just Shedeur. By the way, I just want to let you guys know real fast. Tanner McKee was a 6th round draft pick. Was the 188th overall pick. Okay? Tanner McKee. And in his first career start, he was 27 for 41, 269 yards, 6.6 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a 100 passer rating. And before you say, well, he played for the Eagles. That was a Super Bowl winner, blah, blah, blah. No. You were going up, no A.J. Brown, no Devontae, no Saquon Barkley. The entire offensive line sat. This was not the starting Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles rested everyone. This was the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, and the 6s. Okay, the leading rusher was Will Shipley. Okay, so let's be serious here. Okay, he was thrown to I don't even know who he was thrown to. He was thrown to E.J. Jenkins and Johnny Wilson. So, no. And, he wasn't getting first-team reps all season long, okay? Not at all. So, just put that in perspective. What people want to keep trying to invent. Nobody was calling for Tanner McKee to take over the NFL right now. Listen, I think Tanner McKee could be a great quarterback. Like, I hope he gets a shot. I'm excited to see what he can accomplish. But it's just like, you just put that in perspective. The 6th round pick of Tanner McKee in his first ever game. That's what he did as a starter. 65.9% completion percentage. 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 100.6. And he was playing with the backups of the backups of the backups. Yeah. Safe to say that Tanner McKee looked a lot better than Shedeur Sanders in his first ever game. And yet the way we discuss this, you'd think that Shedeur Sanders just proved that he should have been the #1 overall pick. If that's the case, then what Tanner McKee proved in that game, that I guess he should have been like the ultimate #1 pick. Like I don't know. I mean, did anyone say that Tanner McKee should have been drafted over Bryce Young? Over CJ Stroud? No? Over Will Levis? Was there any an outcry that he should have been drafted over Will Levis? No? Why? What about over Hendon Hooker? No? How about... what other quarterbacks were drafted that year? Jake Hayner. Stenson Bennett. Huh? Aiden O'Connell. Where was the outcry? I don't see the outcry. Sean Clifford. Jaron Hall. There's a lot of quarterbacks that were drafted over him. Over Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee, 6th round, 188th pick. I mean, look at all the teams that passed over him. I want to know, why was there not an outcry? Why are they still not talking about it right now? Bro needs a PR campaign. That's what he needs. He needs to hire someone for PR. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about my mountain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun, man. It's just all about the fun. Sometimes you guys forget that. It's just about to be the fun. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong. But let me know your thoughts. And please do not forget to subscribe. We are really building an awesome community here. It really is. It's really great. I absolutely love it. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Hopefully you guys enjoy it even more than me. I love you more. It really is great. Love being able to branch out and do different things. I love doing this mountain now. Because it's so different, because you get to have Jameis Winston at the top. You get to have, a gigantic Shedeur Sanders. I know everyone's going to love that. It's just, I love it. It's great. Really enjoying it so far. And, then tomorrow, do the tiers, do the Lucas's ladder. And then, then it's going to be Thanksgiving. So I'll have a couple videos posting on Thursday as well. But we'll talk about that in my other videos coming down later on Tuesday and Wednesday. But please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.